Angela Rayner, her of the ginger growler, turned up at a function with King Charles dressed as an actual clown with actual Ronald McDonald shoes on. I don't know what it is with these Labour women, like the Democrats. They have to make themselves as ugly as possible, as if to excuse the fact that no man would ever want to go anywhere near.
Katie Hopkins just went full demolition mode on Angela Rayner, and it's messier than a toddler's spaghetti dinner. You won't believe the brutal burns, the unexpected twists, and the chaos that unfolded. If you thought political clashes were boring, think again. This verbal showdown was like fireworks mixed with a reality TV meltdown. Stick around, because Angela Rayner might never recover from this. Or will she? British politics. Like this one, don't forget to like the video. And subscribe to Dark British. Believe it or not, over 98% of viewers watch our content. Without hitting the follow button. Subscribing is completely free.
7 days ago, Nick Thomas-Symonds sat in that seat, and I asked him, is the winter fuel allowance going to be reversed? And he said, no, that remains the policy. He obviously had no idea the Prime Minister was going to scrap it on Wednesday. When did you find out?
Well, let me just be really clear. The Prime Minister didn't say we're going to scrap it. What the Prime Minister said on Wednesday is when economic conditions allow, and which we're seeing with the fastest growing economy in the G7, and we've already seen 4 interest rate cuts since the Chancellor took over.
So Katie Hopkins has unleashed yet another verbal grenade. And this time Angela Rayner is left scrambling for cover like a squirrel in the middle of a motorway. If political chaos were an Olympic sport, Hopkins would be on the podium with a gold medal in hand, while Rayner tries desperately to figure out which way is up. This isn't just a spat, it's a full-scale demolition. A political roast where the main course is Labour's own mess, and Rayner is the unwitting centerpiece of the disaster.
Here's the thing here. I've had a thought that fixes a lot of your problems. So, you're looking to put boots on the ground in Ukraine, specifically Kyiv. I thought, why don't you get all the people that had a Ukraine flag on their social media profile? Obviously, they had to take down their NHS one and their LGBTQ one to put up the Ukraine one. But those people, and the people who took in a Ukrainian into their homes like a little pet, you know, just for Christmas. People that are like, oh yeah, we've got one. Yeah, we've got a Ukrainian family, yeah.
Now, let's get one thing straight. Angela Rayner isn't just a Labour politician. She's become the living version of that awkward family member who tries to dance at weddings, but ends up knocking over the cake and spilling everyone's drinks. Charming in theory, but in practice, a chaotic mess nobody wants to handle. And Katie Hopkins? She's the uninvited guest with a megaphone, gleefully pointing out every embarrassing moment with sharp precision.
Blowies. However, I have seen Angela Rayner's ginger growler. She was in charge of signage, and because she's working class, we haven't quite spelt it correctly. It's my pleasure to be here at conference. Together, we collective endeavour. Thank you.
The Labour Party, of course, is no stranger to chaos. Remember the days when a political party actually had a clear direction or a united message? Yeah, neither do we. Labour's been stumbling like a toddler trying to ride a bike without training wheels, wobbling all over the place, crashing into fences, and somehow still managing to fall off at every chance. And Rayner? She's the one gripping the handlebars, pretending to steer, but really just spinning the wheel in endless circles.
Batshit bonkers Britain, where Labour are hot out of the gates this morning saying that maybe it's not such a brilliant idea for the UK to import all of Pakistan into our country, and that majority Pakistani Muslim men mainly come here and claim asylum. Oh, do you think, Labour? What they're really trying to do here is grab the headlines. They don't want you talking about the fact that Labour got utterly trounced in the local elections and lost to Reform. Well done to everybody from Reform.
Labour's identity crisis might almost be funny if it weren't so painfully tragic. One week they're the bold defenders of the working class, and the next they're scrambling to dodge accusations of hypocrisy and backstabbing each other in the shadows. And Rayner? She's often the one shoved into the spotlight when the party's plumbing bursts, spraying scandal and embarrassment everywhere. It's as if she's become the unofficial face of Labour's disasters, a title nobody gave her, but one she wears with a certain awkward flair. If politics were a soap opera, Labour's latest chapters would be overflowing with betrayal, secret meetings, and dramatic exits, all playing out across Rayner's increasingly baffled expression. There's the money mismanagement that somehow never gets sorted, the bullying claims that pop up like unwanted guests at a party, and the endless cronyism scandals that make the party look less like a serious political force and more like an episode of Game of Thrones. Just without the dragons, only more scheming. And here's the real punchline. Rayner, placed as a top figure in this circus, tries desperately to hold it all together. But watching her do it is like watching someone try to fix a sinking ship with chewing gum. Every interview, every statement, every attempt at control only makes the gap clearer between Labour's big promises and the messy reality of their bungled leadership.
It would be great if I could be Prime Minister. I would make it such that people who wanted to make Britain great, they get help to do that, they get free parking, they get reduced taxes, they get whatever incentivises the grafters, the workers, small businesses and wealthy individuals.
Starmer is failing harder than cheap toilet paper. He can't keep his own in order at this point. He's lied about simply everything from pensions to taxation to monetary policy, and now he's going to raise council tax by 10%. He even broke rules during lockdown when he had his vocal coach over to give him some lessons, and she did a pretty poor job because he still sounds like he's got...
She talks a big game about strong leadership, but the party under her looks more like a ship lost in a storm, with Rayner frantically bailing water as waves of scandal and distrust crash in from all sides. And speaking of scandals, the list is almost impressive in how quickly it makes you want to facepalm. Financial mismanagement? Check. Bullying claims inside party ranks? Double check. Cronyism and favoritism? Absolutely. It's a full buffet of bad choices, and somehow Rayner is the waitress trying to serve it all while wearing an apron that's 2 sizes too small and full of holes. Every attempt at control feels less like fixing problems and more like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Pointless, messy, and doomed from the start. Then in steps Katie Hopkins, the commentator who doesn't waste time with polite political chatter or carefully balanced critiques. She charges in full throttle, holding Rayner up as the perfect symbol of Labour's constant failure to get it together. Hopkins' words don't just sting, they cut deep, peeling back the polished PR to show the rot underneath. And she doesn't waste time with light jabs either. She throws haymakers, reducing Rayner's public persona to little more than a caricature of noise and confusion. Hopkins' style is pure, sharp clarity, brutal, yes, but impossible to ignore.
Breaking news here in Batshit Bonkers Britain, where there's a story it seems the mainstream aren't keen to carry into this week, which is the story of the non-English speaking Ukrainian bum boy that set fire to Keir Starmer's apartment, his home, his old car and all sorts of other things. Rumour has it the bum boy was recommended to Keir by Zelensky, who'd used him often and found his services to be very enjoyable. More on that, I'm sure.
While Labour's leadership stumbles through carefully, scripted statements and confused interviews, Hopkins cuts through the noise with a single sarcastic sentence that leaves no room for denial. Labour is portrayed not just as dysfunctional, but laughably incompetent with rears. Attempts to lead seen as little more than a tragic comic sideshow. It's political theater gone off the rails. And Hopkins is the merciless critic who refuses to applaud. And why does this all matter? Because the consequences for Labour aren't confined to just bad headlines or viral memes. The party's continual scandals and leadership gaffes drive away the very voters they need to win elections. Moderate supporters who once gave Labour the benefit of the doubt now look elsewhere, tired of the infighting and endless controversies. Rayner, as one of Labour's public faces, carries a significant portion of the blame, whether deserved or not, because she represents a party unable to move beyond its own dysfunction. The image of Labour in the public eye is a stubborn stain, and Ree's awkward public stumbles only add to the smudge. Instead of rallying the party around a clear vision, she inadvertently highlights Labour's inability to present a united front. Every misstep is magnified. Every gaffe becomes a meme, and the scandals stack up like a bad reality show that nobody wants to binge watch but can't stop following.